I want to show you some optional parts that you can put on your Whiplash. Again, the model is perfectly fine out of the box. These are just some little niceties. First is called a stator gator. This is a mechanism to trigger a governor, much like the one on the 750, without having to do any unusual mounting problems for a sensor. This has a simple plug that replaces the kill switch on the RC motor. Now, to install the stator gator, we're going to need to remove the kill switch on the side of the motor. There's enough space with the bottom plate cut out that you can do that on the model. I'm going to show you on a standalone motor simply because it's easier to show. To remove the kill switch out of the RC motor, you need a small screwdriver. Slide it under one edge of the kill switch. Just pry it straight up. There's two wires connected to it. One's red and one's black. You want to pull these, you want to loosen these off of the kill switch like so. You want to install a sensor onto these two wires. The red wire goes onto the side of the sensor that has a red dot on it. It'll just push on. Same with the black lead. And then that threads back down into the assembly, and you just push that in, and now you've got the stator gator sensor installed in the motor. Once it's connected into the motor, then you just need to find a place to put the pickup unit, or the actual control unit. There's room underneath between the motor plate and the frame to thread the wires through so that the sensor can be on this side. There's a couple of cutouts here on the side of the frame. You can use some two-sided tape and Velcro to attach that. This lead goes into the sensor port on the 750 or 701 or GV1 if you have that. It'll also work with quite a few other sensors. Just a note, if you're using the Futaba 701 or 750, you've got to have the voltage jumper lead that Stator Gator provides, or make one yourself, but it's far easier to just plug in the one they have. The voltages on the 701 and 750 are different than they are on the GV1. Unit won't work correctly unless you use this voltage jumper. Skid plugs. If you like the look of skid plugs, the Whiplash doesn't come with any. However, Miniature does still manufacture them for the Tough Strut 2s. They can be plugged right in. Installing the skid plugs is pretty straightforward. They simply go into the ends of the tubes. These fit very tight, so you're going to have to drive them in. You don't really need to glue them. These are the part number 3937-1. Comes with 4 skid plugs, enough to do a model. Next up is an air filter. Miniature Aircraft manufactures their own air filter. It's made out of carbon fiber with a material filter. Very easy to install. Take off the old air filter, put this one on. Replacing the air cleaner is very straightforward. There's a clip on the top of the stock air filter. You push that forward, push down on the outside of it, it'll come right off. There's 2 Phillips head bolts. You remove these, then the air cleaner and the carburetor will come off, so you need to be aware of that. Alright, when these bolts are loose, this entire assembly will come off. You can just pull the air cleaner out. You can let this hang for the moment, and you'll need these 2 bolts. Alright, I've put the bolts through the air filter bottom plate. You'll also need a spacer that comes with the air filter. It helps to take up some of the space that you've lost as a result of the thinner air filter. Actually, you're going to need 2 of these now, because one came with the original air filter. Okay. And this just tightens down on the motor like so. If you happen to be using an aluminum isolator block on the motor, then this bolt length becomes critical because you can cause the Teflon gaskets to distort in some cases. So you want to make sure you check that if you use this. Once that's on, air filter just slips over and this outer plate simply bolts on here with 3 M3 screws. Once that's done, air filter's in place. And here you can see the model with the air filter in place. Has a lot more surface area for airflow. You've got an outer plate that you can do some customization on, change the color of it, put some designs on it, whatever you might like to do. So this is unique to the RC motor. The RC motor has a pull start on the bottom of it. And if you're like me, I never pull start the model. I always use a spin starter. So you can take that pull starter off, put this plate on, get you back some ground clearance because the pull starter is actually a little bit deeper than this. You can see how much area the pull start takes up on the bottom of the model. It reduces the ground clearance, not so much that it's really a problem, but by putting the plate on you can get a fair amount of that back. Replacing the pull starter is pretty straightforward. You remove the 4 Phillips head screws. It'll come right off. You need those screws, so keep those. You take the plate and it'll go right over in position. And then these 4 bolts thread right back in. You tighten them up with thread lock. And as you can see, the model has got much more ground clearance with this. It takes away about a ½ inch of space by putting this on. And it cools just as well. That's not an issue. There's plenty of air area on this.